Is it even possible to replenish your inventory for online arbitrage? I feel like a lot of people that want to get into Amazon assume that the only way to do this is through wholesale or through some kind of brand direct model, private label, but there is a way to do it for online arbitrage. It's not like you might be thinking though. There's a couple different things you have to do to actually have replenishable inventory. And a lot of times these items aren't always going to be replenishable. So I think the things I'm going to share with you today are going to very much surprise you. We're going to look at some different ways to source to lead to no replens, and then also ways to source to lead to replens, and what you need to be doing every single day in your business to make sure that you are capturing these products long term so you can actually have a store of replens. So you don't have to always be sitting there tracking down products. That's the goal with this business, is to build a sustainable arbitrage business that doesn't require you sourcing every single day. So let's jump into my screen. Do replens even exist? Well, they do and they don't. They exist, just not in the way you might be assuming they exist. A lot of people just think that they need to find 10 products and that's it. Once they find 10 products that they can just buy and sell, they're done and they don't need to do any more work. That's not how it works, especially with arbitrage. Honestly, it's not how it works with wholesale either. Brand direct, you can lose accounts, you can get more competitors on the listing, products can tank, you can get restricted in them, the brand can just decide that they don't want you selling anymore. So you need to build a system that allows you to have more replens, and that revolves having a very wide catalog. But I want to go over some ways that you might be sourcing now that you should probably stop if you want to actually attract even semi-type replen products. So here's some non-replenishable ways to source. So clearance sourcing, obviously this is a very non-replenishable way. When an item is on clearance, they're going to be off of clearance by the time you want to go to replenish it, and you're not going to be able to buy them anymore. Now, replenishable inventory to purchase at time of purchase is extremely easy to find because you can typically just go to any clearance section on a website and it's going to be profitable for you and you can go ahead and buy it. Here's just a very simple example. I literally pulled up, I went to Walgreens, I went to clearance, and I found this product. It was the first product I clicked on, and it actually was profitable. It does sell slow, but it is very profitable. And this would be an example of an item that you could probably go to your local Walgreens, clear them out, buy some units, and you can make a 200% ROI on it. Now, by no means is this a crazy banger product, but just literally was the first one that I found. And it just goes to show how easy it is to source these clearance products, but how all these products are very short-lived. So you have a couple different problems with these types of methods. The first problem being is you're obviously not going to be able to actually restock it. So you're doing this work for just today. It's not going to go to next week, next month. And the other problem with it is a lot of newer sellers also do this same method. So they also go to clearance because they think it's the only way. And then you get a bunch of new competitors on these listings. Now this listing has been very, there's like barely any sellers on here, and who knows, this might have just went on clearance. So that could be the reason why. But yeah, these products are never going to be replenishable. So that is the first way of doing it. Now, the other way is the more so seasonal products. Now, these can be replenishable throughout the seasons, but generally these are only replenishable for like maybe 1 month of the year. Like you really load up on these, and like pool supply is a good example. And this doesn't mean that these aren't products that you want to be carrying on your store. Just means that you might not want to spend all of your time looking for these types of products because there's a very high chance that these items, again, are not really going to sell well during the year, and they're going to be usually much lower throughout the rest of the year, so really not even profitable. If you look at an example like this, clearly an item like this, it does pretty well in the summertime. We can see up here in the summer, we usually peak at about $83.50, and it also usually sells about 500-ish times a month at a higher price right here at about, we got some peaks here at about $71.90, about $80. But then during the rest of the year, this thing is barely selling. I mean, if we just zoom into December to January, this thing has dropped significantly in price, almost 50% in price. And this thing sold maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times during the month. So again, items that are kind of replenishable, like you can replenish them for small parts of the year, but you're pretty much only stocking this for, maybe, what is this? Maybe like 3 months of the year, 4 months of the year. So these, again, seasonal products. You have like your Halloween candy, you have like your Easter things, right? These things, if you see them and they're profitable and you think you can get them in on time, then definitely go ahead and buy them. You've already found out, you might as well. But just realize that that's not going to be replenishable. It might be next year and you can get back on it. But typically what I even see with these types of items is they do really, really good for one season. And then the following season, it's on everybody's radar. So then they all replan it like crazy going into the following year, and then the next year just doesn't perform as well as it did before, right? I noticed this for myself early on when I was starting. I used to really do really well with these Halloween scrub daddies, the first Halloween that they were introduced, but then the following one, the listing was completely dead. It was completely shot because there's just too many competitors on there. Everyone was anticipating for that to happen. So that, again, that's kind of the only other issue with that type of method here. But again, there's a time and place for it. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Liquidation products, all right. First off, you shouldn't even be doing this to begin with. These invoices are not going to be enough to prove authenticity. Again, a lot of times these products are like damaged or open box products, and you can't sell those on Amazon. You're going to get violations. And again, you have no consistent supply. So there was an example I had in here. I got rid of it, but it was from like a website called like liquidation.com or something. And they just sell liquidation products. I know a lot of people getting into the space that want to do wholesale will gravitate towards these types of products. And again, not only are these not replenishable, but they are against Amazon's TOS. Unless the invoices are obviously reputable and the closeout or liquidators can prove that they actually got it from some sort of authorized distributor that Amazon can verify. 99% of the time, though, these are not going to be good enough, and you're just putting your account at major risk here. Plus, there's no point because, again, it's all short-lived. You're going to make a little bit of money, but you're not going to be able to sustain that with this type of model. The other one is limited edition drops. We see a lot of these. Okay, I just got an example of these Oreo flavors here. They always release limited edition type products, and again, these can still be products to bring on your store. I just don't go in anticipating to like carry these long term because again, they go in and out and you're not going to be able to get these all the time. And we can see this thing throughout the last cycle. This thing's been pretty good, but now if you try to go looking for this, it's very, very, very tough to track down. Right, you see Amazon used to sell it back here. That means it was more so stock then. But ever since Amazon's kind of not been on the listing anymore for these products, you just kind of know that this product's been kind of gone. They can't get their hands on it anymore, which means like Walmart can't either, which means these listings are just not going to be able to be restocked because they don't really exist anymore. I'm sure you can find it here and there, but they're not really being manufactured the same. Same thing goes here for these Oreos. Same exact idea here. It's like Post Malone one, right? You can try and go find them, but you might only be able to find them from like some kind of grocery outlet or some kind of closeout store, which watch for expirations, obviously. And again, it's just not a way to build a nice long-term stable Amazon business that you have lots of products to sell that are replenishable. So what do we got to do to actually have replenishable inventory? Because these are really the 4 ways that I can really think of that are just non-replenishable ways to source. Well, there's, again, different types of replens, right? We kind of went over this in the beginning. There's products that, let me just get into it. Okay, we have 2 different types. We have what I like to call the 365 replen, which means these items are going to be always replenishable, literally January to January. They're always going to be replenishable. Now, just know these items are typically going to have tighter ROIs because what's usually happening with these listings is there's tight ROI. So maybe it's like a 17% return on investment. So you have a group of people that are okay with this type of return. Everyone's okay with making 17 to 20%, but it's a very stable price, right? So some people will be fine with that, but then most people are not fine with that. So it never gets an influx of offers. So it doesn't really fluctuate in price much, right? I don't really like these because, again, they're not very profitable. You're going to have tight margins, and it's very tough to profit when you have tight margins. You need higher margins. You need to shoot for 15%, 16% margins over time. Okay, but here's just some examples of some products that kind of resemble something like that. And again, these are going to be like tight ROI products. There's an item like this, and if you look at the chart here, you can see pretty much throughout the whole year, the offers never spike. The offers are pretty much always pretty flat, and they're all kind of hovering between 720 and about 1138 up here. So there is quite some fluctuation with this product here, but for the most part, this item is relatively stable here. This might be an example of kind of like a 365 replen where throughout the year, it's pretty much profitable at every single stage, but typically these low points, it's like very not profitable. So most people wouldn't actually want to carry them on their store. Okay, another example is this one right here. Same thing, very, very stable. Offers do kind of go up and down quite often, but the price is really stable here. Typically, when you see a lot of offers on a product like this, that's on and off, but the monthly sold is actually kind of low, right? This only sells about 100 a month, and the and the price is really flat. That usually means that not every seller, or actually pretty much no seller, can get their hands on an infinite supply. So everyone only has maybe 5 to 20 units. No one feels the need to rush to sell because they don't have a lot of units. So everyone holds their price at a nice, reasonable price, and you don't really see too much undercutting. That's kind of what's happening right here. And this could be an example of an item that you sell a couple units of every single month. That's just a slow burner. You don't make a whole bunch of money, but you do make some money on it. And again, these products can still go away. Like, they're not always going to be good, but they're more likely to usually be good. This is what I call, again, the 365 replen. Now, honestly, the better way to look for items and the easier way to find items and the better way to make more money is actually have what I call cycle replen. So products that are profitable most of the time, but not always. So you have to, look at the chart, look at the low prices, make sure that you're still somewhat profitable or at least break even there, but it has lots of peaks throughout the year where it's ridiculously profitable. Okay, really profitable, offer count falls, right? And here's some examples of products like that like offer lots of opportunity for sellers to capture lots of sales and make a lot more money throughout some parts of the year. Okay, so an item like this we could buy for $15, right? Today it's not very profitable, this $23.72 price, but if we look at it throughout the year, it has lots of peaks where it sells at 30, it sells at 29. Even up here, like all these different fluctuations, like these low points, we don't care about those when we see peaks like this. This means we can sell these at, $30, $29, which makes a product like this extremely profitable. And it sells pretty well here, about 200 times a month during these times. So it's moving really, really well, right? These are great products. I mean, margin here is about 21%, really good margin, good ROI. Light product, easy to prep. And even throughout these periods right here, right, we're still at about $28, $29. Now, during these low points, it's still profitable, but it's not the most profitable, right? Here we're getting peaks at about $26, which again, is still not that bad. It's not ideal. It's about a 10% margin, but it's not bad, okay? Like these cycle replens are nice, really, really nice at some parts. So you need to be knowing when these are really profitable right here, because this thing is going to keep going through these cycles forever. So you want to be on this listing for a good 60-50% of the year. And if you can do that and you can manage these listings and track them, then you will be, and you'll make a lot of money during these times. And then once they start to trend down, right? So we can see correlation right here. Once the offer count begins to come up right here and our price goes down, we can notice that. We're not going too deep on these products. We can realize that, we can price to sell through our inventory, and we will just hold off on this listing to restock it, but we will be tracking it. So then when we know, once we see this again, right, once we see the offer count start to turn back down and we start seeing price go back up, we're getting alerted and we're buying it again because we're anticipating that we're going to be able to sell for much higher, right? This is the better way to do it, and this is the more profitable way to do it, and it's honestly the easier way to do it because these products are everywhere. I mean, everywhere. You do keep a product finder, you do reverse sourcing, you're going to see these opportunities all over the place. You just have to make sure you're properly tracking them to be able to go and capture stuff like this. Okay, here's another example, another prime example of what this looks like, right? Historically, not the best. Okay, these bigger sellers here kind of go away because they probably had too much stock. Right here is also selling slower. And then we see price start to pump back up. And again, this item right here is sourcing for about $9. So it's very profitable here at about $24, $28 even, these peaks here. But typically, let's say $24.99 is where those peaks are. And it's a very profitable product to be dominating. As the offers come up, price comes right back down to about $19. And now we're noticing this thing going through another profitable cycle of the offer count coming down and the price going right back up. And now we're getting sales at about $23. Which again is still a very, very profitable product, about a 20% margin on an easy to prep light item that only weighs about a pound, right? So these things go through cycles, and we can see it pretty much throughout the whole entire history of this product, this thing going through cycles. Okay, very profitable. Okay, profitable. Okay, profitable. Okay, very profitable, right? It's happening over and over and over again. So we as sellers need to realize that this is just what happens on Amazon when you're doing arbitrage, right? Everyone wants a picture perfect business where they have like 10 products that they replen, right? I said this in the beginning, but that's not how it works with arbitrage. And honestly, that's not even how it works with wholesale. You're going to constantly have fluctuations there as well. If you're not owning the brand and everybody can sell products, right? We're doing a very simple business model. We're reselling. Everyone else can also resell. So we need to be better than everybody else and develop a system around this. So right, other people are lazy, they don't want to do it, but we actually want to track all these items, and we want to have a VA, and we want to have all these different things in place so we can maximize our profits and make money long term. Because again, listings come and go, brands will restrict you, brands will let you sell, Amazon will decide you can't sell us anymore. This is stuff we don't have control over. So the one thing we do have control over is having a lot of different things we can sell, putting our money into the best possible ones, and selling the ones we can, and not over leveraging on any one product by going too deep in case we do get restricted or something does happen. right? It's not very common. It does happen. It's not very common. And honestly, even if you do get restricted in brands, you can always reapply, especially if it's a brand you really want to sell. But you don't have to worry about that as much, right? Students of mine, yeah, it's annoying, right? It happens, and I get DMs like, I got restricted, what do I do? But they're not done. Like, some people's businesses completely folded back in December when they got restricted in these brands because that's the only thing they focused on. They didn't have a sustainable system like this. Whereas my students, right, okay, sucks. Yeah, I can't sell this product anymore. It was doing really well. Whatever, we move on. We'll put some money into some better products and some other products, and on we go. Next month is fine. And that's what you need as a reseller that wants to make Amazon your, not only your full-time thing, but even as just like a side income thing. Like, this is what you need if you want to do this long term. Plain and simple, Amazon's changing always. So this is the best way to counteract that while doing arbitrage. So these are the two types of different ways we can replenish. Now, how do we actually set up a system to allow us to do this consistently and to have this pretty much running on autopilot for us? Well, the solution for this is, again, having a system of endless products to buy. Okay, 95% of your online arbitrage products will not always be replenishable 100% of the year. So we're not trying to fight the inevitable. Okay, we want to build a sustainable business on Amazon while always having products to sell. So this is kind of what it looks like, right? And obviously, the more products you have, the higher margin you can have because you decide to put your money into the better products. But ideally, you have an item one, you replenish 80% of the year. So 20% of the time, it's not the best. You just pass on it. Okay, item two, 45% of the year, right? You get the idea. These items are not 100% replenished, but they're replenished throughout different periods, and you always have somewhere to put your money. So we break down the math to this. If your goal is to make $5,000 from Amazon, you probably need to sell about $30,000 on the platform to do about 5K profit. That's probably what you're shooting for. Maybe a little bit less if you're very strict and you shoot for high ROI products. Okay, but you probably need to spend about 15K. So if you have all these different items that you can choose from throughout different periods of time, it should be very easy for you to spend this 15K on those good items to hit that spend goal to produce this profit, right? I made a video on this before, but this is what you have full control over. Is right here is your spend. Your products are just a byproduct of your business and what you need to kind of have for you to have the freedom to do this. But this is what's the important part, is spending that money on good quality products. So you need a system to feed you products constantly that you can go and buy. So again, you have your Keepa Product Finder searches. We use Keepa Product Finder to do searches, to find products. You have your virtual assistant doing this, or you can get them a list and you have them go through it, and then they feed you products in there because you as a business owner should know how to do these searches. You then give it to your virtual assistant to look through them. They find you the best possible products, and you get a list of products to sell, right? I've shown this a lot of times, but like having a virtual assistant just feed you items every day to buy is the biggest cheat code you can have. And this is something that every seller should eventually look to implement as they begin to scale up, because it's just part of the system. The other thing is tracking your products. Again, the reason we're able to capture these products throughout different periods of time is because we're not just like, it's impossible to manage thousands of products. You have to have something managing it for you, so you're getting alerted for it when it's time to buy, and that is what the product tracker does. Again, that's what Keepa has. They have a track product feature, and we do this very systematically to always make sure we are capturing these products at the best possible times. So again, yeah, these are running on autopilot. Product tracker is alerting when to buy these. That's kind of how the whole thing works. Now, again, some ways that you can source these products, right? I went over like different ways to do these, and like I talked about what not to do. This is how, again, you want to be sourcing these. So ideally, you use evergreen coupons on these products, right? So people think like you need a couponing, like couponing is the only way. Well, coupons help, and yeah, like some coupons are not always around, but a lot of the websites we source from, the coupons are always there. You have your Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy, you have your Vitacost, your iHerb, your Walgreens. Like, these places always run these evergreen codes. You set up a catch-all and you can get these codes over and over again, and you can use these 20% codes on and on, right? That's one type of way we would source from evergreen sites. Now, how do we actually find the products for those sites? Well, we do reverse sourcing. We do Keepa Product Finder searches. I have plenty of videos on those. So just go through my videos. I have a lot of sourcing videos that go over a ton of reverse sourcing and stuff in the Keepa Product Finder. And again, a lot of this kind of boils back to like what niches you're using, like what you're trying to target. Okay, some niches are much more replenishable than others. Your beauty products, your order cancels, those are not replenishable. Vitamins, not replenishable. They cancel your orders. Buying like, I don't know, it's mainly beauty and like supplements, the two big ones that are just very not replenishable. Other products though that you're buying from Walmart, you can just place multiple orders. Target, you can place multiple orders. Kohl's, you can place multiple orders. Tools, automotive, like, here's some categories: tools, automotive, books, home and kitchen. Like, these places, you're buying from websites that don't care how many you order. They are very replenishable, and you can buy lots of units. And if you want a more in-depth video on this, go watch this video right here on my YouTube. I go over the different niches and which ones I like and why I like them. It'll definitely give you a perspective of like what you need to be looking for if you want some kind of sustainability inside your business. But this is the big thing I want to address here is having this system of products coming to you constantly. This is what makes an arbitrage business sustainable, and this is what replens look like when it comes to selling on Amazon when you're doing online arbitrage. Okay, throw retail arbitrage out the window. You can't really have replens. You'll have some, but it's very, very rare, and you're just putting so much work in for such little results. Online, we can keep replenishing these products. We're not buying anything from clearance. We are buying products that are just on the website, selling normally, but there's a price discrepancy on Amazon, and we're able to capture sales on it because of the data. And we can find these products easily by doing product finder searches. That's kind of the idea behind these searches, to find those arbitrage opportunities. And again, I have a video that goes over how to find arbitrage opportunities. So again, it's on my YouTube. Go find it. I think it's called like how to identify, or like this made my sourcing so much easier. I'll link it down below too, because I know that's a really, really powerful video for you guys to watch. But that's a system, okay? Replens do exist, just not in the way that you might think they exist. But there is a way to do it, and this is the way that I have my students do it. This is why I talk to some of my students, and by the time they're in month 5, like a lot of their buying is just coming from tracked products that they found month 1, or they're just really good at sourcing with using Keep a Product Finder because it's just such an overpowered method of sourcing. So if you guys do want some additional help, if you're looking for some personalized guidance, you'd like me to hold your hand, you want us, I literally source my students. Like, we get on calls, I show them how to find products that are auto approved, we find them together, we order products, we spend money together, and get the store off the ground running. So if you're brand new and you want just to kickstart that store, book in a call. There's a Calendly link down below. Run you through what that looks like. Or if you're already an experienced seller, you have some sales and you just are stuck, you want the system, but you also want to have better sourcing methods. Like, you want me to help you hit your spend goals, that kind of stuff, help you scale up, like some of my students have done. My student Damien, pumped for him. He literally just sent a message. He had $100,000. She had it right here. He just cracked 100K in the month or the last 30 days, March 20th to end of April, which is just absolutely insane. So yeah, guys, this is all possible. It's not just me. There's so many people that are able to make Amazon at least, if not full-time, part-time, to bring in some additional income for their families. And there's no easier business model on planet Earth than simply reselling products. We just use Amazon's platform to make that even easier for us without having to run ads, without having to go through all these different loops, right? Amazon gives us the customers. We buy random products that sell for profit, and we systemize the process. And again, if you need some help with that, there's a link down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram or comment here on my YouTube. And again, I think you would really enjoy this video right here. It'll walk you through exactly how to find arbitrage opportunities so you can go and track down products similar to these.